and welcome to the AutoToday YouTube channel. Today with us is the gorgeous new 8 Series Gran Coupe, and as you might have figured out by now, this is essentially a 4-door coupe version of the regular 8 Series. Now this segment in particular, it's a niche segment, but it is all about the looks, and that is something, the style, the looks, that is something the 8 Series Gran Coupe has in spades. Of course, I mean, this car is something that can sell alone based purely on its looks, but there is more to it, and we're going to show you everything there is about the car. So let's not waste any more time and get straight to it and show you more about the car and tell you everything that you need to know about it. A wide, low-slung stance coupled with a coupe-like sloping roofline that just about levels out before it merges with a subtle ducktail spoiler-esque element accompanied by sleek LED tail lamps give the 8 Series Gran Coupe the head-turning looks expected from a car in this particular segment. The front end, with its expansive hood, sharp headlamps and a kidney grille that, mercifully, is the right size, help highlight the car's sporty intentions. Compared to the regular 2-door 8 Series, the Gran Coupe has a 201mm longer wheelbase. What's also impressive is the fact that despite the difference in size, the Gran Coupe is just 70 kg heavier than the 2-door version thanks to plenty of weight-saving measures. This here is the entry-level 840i variant with 18-inch alloys, plenty of chrome, and while it looks quite attractive, there is an M Sport variant that looks more aggressive with its blacked-out bits, aggressive front and rear bumpers, and nicer-looking 19-inch wheels. Inside, the steering wheel and the switchgear around you is typical BMW affair with an all-digital instrument console, a 10.25-inch touchscreen interface for the iDrive infotainment suite that can also be accessed via physical controls next to the gear selector. Speaking of which, it, along with the iDrive dial and the engine start-stop button, feature BMW's crafted Clarity glass application. Needless to say, the 8 gets all the latest features that have made their way to newer BMWs, including voice control, gesture control for answering, rejecting phone calls, changing volume levels, etc. So as we mentioned before, looks play a big part in this particular segment, and if BMW can convince customers based on the looks of the 8 Series Gran Coupe, then that's half the battle won. But since this is the 4-door coupe, then there has to be a certain element of sportiness to the way it drives, the way it behaves on the road, and in that sense you will not be disappointed. This is of course sportier than most sedans, regular sedans out there. That does bring with it certain things like a slightly stiffer suspension setup, so you will feel all the bumps and undulations in the road at lower speeds, but things improve vastly as speeds build up. And the steering, like we mentioned about BMWs, the newer BMWs in recent times, it is more on the neutral side, so it's not heavy at low speeds, which used to be the case with BMWs earlier. So it's nice and light to use at city speeds and weighs up very well when you're hitting triple-digit speeds out on the highway. Speaking of the engine in this car, it's a 6-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine with about 340 bhp on tap and 500 Nm of torque. 0 to 100 kmph comes up in just over 5 seconds, so that's fairly quick. And in Sport Plus mode with transmission in Sport, you can even hear crackles and pops, so that's quite nice. That's something I really like. And yeah, like we mentioned, it's a nice and sporty car to drive. You sit really low, close to the road, and the dashboard sort of wraps around you with the angled center console and everything. And yeah, overall the experience is really nice. So that's one more box checked. So you get the looks, you get a very nice, sporty and involving driving experience. And apart from that, of course, we'll take a look at the back seat and show you what it's like in the back, because this is of course a 4-door car and there are proper seats in the rear. So getting into the rear seat of the 8 Series Gran Coupe, and the first thing that actually hits you is the amount of knee room and leg room on offer. I mean, there's acres of space. I'm quite surprised. But then again, if you look at the wheelbase of the car and the gains in terms of wheelbase over a regular two-door 8 Series, then yeah, you would know why there's so much space, and there's quite a bit of it. And in fact, it's actually a very comfortable place to be in. I really don't have too much to complain about in terms of leg room and knee room. But as expected, headroom is compromised. I mean, I am 5'8", so it seems pretty okay for me. But taller individuals might, not feel as, that feeling of space won't be there for taller individuals. But that said, it is not exactly, I wouldn't say disappointing at all. It's actually pretty impressive, the amount of space BMW has managed to carve out in the rear seat. And for rear seat occupants, you get quite a few features to play with. You get the sunshades operated through a button. You have this glass roof, again electrically operated. Obviously, there's a sunshade behind me as well. There's a nice armrest. I can pop open the cup holders, and there's a small storage space as well. There are dedicated aircon vents as well, but there is no dedicated aircon zone. But there is a slider here to switch between hot and cold, and you also get 2 USB-C charging ports for your phones. The most surprising thing, and this is quite strange, at least we find it quite strange, is the fact that although it might look like a 4-seater, it might look like there are only 2 individual seats, which are actually nice, quite snug. But as I discovered, if you put this up, there is seatbelt arrangement for a third passenger as well. I mean, there is a huge tunnel here, and you can see that, and it's fixed, and you can't remove that. So basically, if you're going to squeeze in another passenger, that person has to do a few acrobatics and get their leg on either side of this tunnel, and I'm sure that's not going to be too comfortable. But in case you do want to squeeze another person here, then you can. That's an option BMW gives you. And like we already mentioned, the ride is on the firmer side, but again, you don't get air suspension, but you get adaptive dampers, so you can play around with it. You can put it in comfort, and it's actually quite fine. I mean, nothing to complain about really. At lower speeds, yes, you will feel the bumps and the imperfections filtering in, but otherwise it's fairly okay. I mean, it's not a bad place at all for occasional chauffeur driven runs if you want to do that. But still, we would prefer the front seat of the 8 Series Gran Coupe rather than the rear seat.
The BMW A Series Gran Coupe is a car that you'd pick for its head-turning design, the kind that will have fellow road users peering out of their windows in awe, and to us at least, it's more attractive than its rivals. However, we'd pay that 25 lakh extra and pick the M Sport Edition for the additional features and, more importantly, the more aggressive exterior appointments.
Well, I'm off to spend more time with the beautiful 8 Series Gran Coupe, and you guys, please ensure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so that you never miss a video from AutoToday. Until next time, goodbye.